Ever wonder what would happen if our greatest criminals had a deadlier version of Deadpool's healing factor that also creates weapons from your wildest dreams and craziest nightmares? What if all that stood in their way was a woman with a sword and some militarized police officers? While fighting them, can the woman also find her father's killer? This is Tokyo Gore Police. The movie begins with a cute little tribute to a girl's dad, whom is a police officer for the first few seconds of the movie before making a mind-blowing exit. We then see a girl in the back of a police car as officers surround a building. There's a man within that building that has taken a woman hostage and dissected her like a last-minute science project. As the police raid the building and the convict does the Leatherface boogie, the girl in the back violently cuts herself. Whoever edited this into the police raid so choppily, I kinda wanna know why you didn't just cut it out and use it after. Once they reach the top of the building though, they shoot Leatherface until his arm flies off before he does his best Ash Williams cosplay, mixing in a little Scorpion as well. Using his newfound abilities, he starts killing the officers, so the girl in the car gets out with one of Jax's weapons and uses it to so she can be in range for her fatality. Afterwards, we find out from One-Eyed Jack here that the type of criminal that was taken out is called an engineer. Whenever they have a limb severed, they grow back a dangerous weapon in its place. Car Girl, whom I now know is named Ruka, gets her name quick since she's not another copy-paste horror character as she arrives at a bar to have a drink. We find out that she has a connection to the owner here, and that cutting herself has been a demon she's fought for a long time. Then suddenly, she gets called to a location and the scene cuts to her arrival. She arrives to what seems like a challenge, but actually ends up being a surprise party for her birthday. She says the chief treats her like his own daughter, that the station feels like family, before the candlelight sadly lead to a flashback of her mom cutting herself on her birthday, making it about her and not her daughter. Talk about wanting her cake and eat it too. In all seriousness, I feel sorry for the mom, but the daughter being emotionally neglected because of her mother doesn't sit right with me. The scene then shifts to a brothel, when a man meets a girl and pulls out one of the tumors that causes the engineer's ability. As the door closes behind them, we flash to the girl's manager in a bathroom as she gets jumped from behind and stabbed with some sort of syringe knife that not only ends her life but takes her blood as well. The scene ends with the woman's body being found, blood drained and put into vials, with the body shoved inside of a box. No wonder Patrick wanted to keep it a secret. You never know what you're gonna get. We then cut to Ruka stylishly getting onto a train with an umbrella. While on the ride, she watches a man eat literal bugs for an uncomfortable amount of time as a man bugs me even more by grabbing Ruka's butt. Thankfully though, she drags him off the train and teaches him to keep his hands to himself by showing him how it'd feel if he ended up losing them. As she gets back on the train to continue her journey, she falls asleep on her seat and dreams of the day her father was killed. Here we see he was executed at point blank range with a bullet to the head as his daughter watched, unable to help. After she awakens, she chases a creepy figure throughout the train as flashing lights hurt my brain until she stumbles upon yet another body in a box. And here I've been expecting chocolate to be in one of these. After some sporadic nonsensical cuts, Ruka catches up to the killer and they engage in after some nauseating cuts and slowdown, our killer decides to activate his ultimate ability and rips half his face off in order to keep his eyes on the prize. Looking down two barrels at once, he opens fire and without ever holding a gun, gets the upper hand on Ruka. While she's incapacitated, he takes out a tumor and inserts it into her arm, making her into an engineer. As they inspect the crime scene, the police chief says all engineers need to be exterminated, leaving Ruka wary of the only family she has left. After some CSI type investigating, we find out our headless horseman's identity. Ruka tracks him down as Chief realizes that the suspect and the man that killed her father are one and the same. He starts swinging his sword like this is Power Ranger Samurai before cutting our way to the next scene. Here Ruka finds some evidence, a girl's name, and some things the girl went through, including having a mouthy chest. She calls in for info on all addresses belonging to the girl, as this goofball walks into a party that makes me question humanity and why we even lasted this long. I'd show you why, but YouTube would undoubtedly tear me a new one, and not in the way that the people in this club would like. So instead use your Snail Girl, girl that has Squidward's and SpongeBob's nose mixed, and Mouthy Chest Girl, whom I'll call MCG from now on. Oh, and a literal chair girl that pees. Why does it pee? Anyway, the goofball and MCG leaves together, and after finding a private place gets rather personal. After showing the goofball how she would blow up the balloons on their wedding day, she gets a bit hungry and, well, before Shotgun comes into the room, he then proceeds to torture Goofball, who somehow gets his arm loose and pulls an Uzi out of nowhere. Guess he was packing more than just a carrot. He opens fire and MCG pushes Shotgun out of the way, taking every bullet herself to save him. Using the distraction, Goofball crawls out of the room just for MCG to crawl out after him. She looks like a fish out of water or a gator out of lake until what the hecking over and biting his arm off. Before she can finish him off though, he picked up his severed arm, pulling the string and shooting inside her. Give her 9 months and there'll be little goofballs running around. Shotgun then gives him the tumor and makes him the next engineer. We then cut to said engineer roughing up officers like we were back at the brothel, packing one arm with more bang for its buck than Genghis Khan and another that definitely nails the competition. The engineer screws over an entire army before the chief arrives and shows his dominance by being the one to come out on top. Ruka arrives at the base of Shotgun, where he invites her in and gives his villain monologue exposition heavy backstory. The slides that make up the spiel are actually pretty creative, and I actually enjoyed the breathing room I got here. Turns out Shotgun had a dad. We're gonna call him Sniper, as he was once a sniper for the police. He got shot for refusing to take a shot with a baby at risk and got put on leave, although not getting all the severance he was promised. In order to get money to put Shotgun through college, he took a contract from his former boss to shoot a political police activist causing problems, which happened to be Ruka's father. Dun dun dun. Sniper ended up getting gunned down in the process. After losing his father, Shotgun begins some research and injects himself with something, making him the world's first engineer. After failing to commit suicide due to his new heightened state, he mass-produced a tumor soon after. The most important detail of this story, however, is that Ruka's father figure, the chief, is the one that pulled the trigger killing Sniper, only after he killed her father. Knowing this information, she ends Shotgun's life and heads out for revenge. Meanwhile, the officers have been killing random people, anyone they want, with all them having to say is,
well, because you want to run your mouth to me.
To justify it, not sparing anyone, men, women, or children from the carnage they inflict. The bartender releases her bottled up anger as she defends herself as these two girls violently duke it out outside. I can't show you most of this because of YouTube, but trust me when I tell you, it's deplorable. Ruka arrives in time to witness the aftermath of their actions, but not in time to save the bartender, who she watches die at the end of her rope. Rest in peace, bartender. At least you didn't die with anything bottled up, and were able to really let everything that was festering inside out for a change. Ruka rolls into a bunch of guys making mountains out of molehills and gets shot in the face. Showing that she's been training with Kano in secret, she takes up her master's signature eye as she uses her laser focus to seek revenge. The first person she has her eye on is her twin here, One-Eyed Jack himself. He comes packing a cannon army, but makes the mistake of rudely giving a girl the finger, and since chivalry isn't dead, ends up handing himself a loss. Since our girl's tired of men getting in the way of her everyday life, she decides to skip all the grunts in between and head toward the final boss. Since he lacks the balls to face her like a man though, Chief instead sends this girl to do the fighting for him, and after a stilted sword fight, Ruka forces her to throw in the towel before heading to face the Chief once again. Since Chief is more of an injustice guy himself, in more ways than one, he injects himself with venom before charging into battle. Since Shotgun took after Forrest, Chief takes after Lieutenant Dan before flying around like an Iron Man movie if it couldn't stand on its own 2 feet and flopped around at the box office. Ruka thankfully puts him out of his misery too, so just like Iron Man, Chief ends up dead by the end of the movie. Saluting like her father once did, the movie ends with Ruka and the woman from before, looking like they're American citizens now, and an end credits teaser that left me baffled and confused. Wonderful. If you like this and want to see more, hitting Hitting that subscribe button lets me know. And if you want to see my thoughts on the movie, I'll link that in the card up above. If you made it this far, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and above all else, I hope you have a great day. Thank you.